Namaste. In this session, we will learn about column transformer and why it is very important. Really. But first, we will look at an example where we will achieve our desired result without using a column transformer and then use a column transformer to achieve the same result and demonstrate how we can make our life, our data science life basically a lot easier. So let us get started with the Jupyter notebook. So here I've said that this is part 1 of column transformer because I have tried to make this tutorial a little bit easier by not including any missing values in the dataset. But in the part 2 of this class, we will look at an example of column transformer which has missing values and how we can handle them. Okay, so just to make the learning curve a little bit easier, I've excluded the missing values from this example. So we will first load in the dataset. So I've loaded in the dataset now, and I've also included a parameter of NA value is equal to question mark to indicate that wherever you encounter a question mark in this dataset, that is a missing value. And now if I check what is my shape of the dataset, so I can do df.shape. It tells me I have 32,561 rows now. Now, just for the sake of simplicity and for this part 1 tutorial, I will drop all the missing values. So basically I will drop all the rows that have even one missing value. Okay, so if I check df.isNA.sum, it tells me I have missing values in work class, occupation, and native country. So I'll drop all of these rows. So I'll simply df.dropNA in place is equal to true. I have dropped all the missing value rows now. So now if I check my df.shape, it tells me I have 30,162 rows. Before I had 32,561. So I have basically deleted 2,500 rows. But never mind, although we shouldn't have done that, just for the purpose of this tutorial, I deemed it necessary to drop them. So just one last thing that we'll do. If I check what are my column names, I see that few column names have spaces before their name, right? So we'll get rid of those to make our analysis a little bit easier. So what I'll do is I'll say df.columns dot string dot strip. Okay, so what this will do is if I check now my df.columns, it will not have any trailing or leading spaces. So now this is a decent looking df.columns now. Now, our first step before doing any kind of data pre-processing is splitting up our dataset into training and testing set. So this is what we'll be doing first now. So if I now check, by the way, if I check now df.isNA.sum, if I do this, it tells me there are no missing values in any of the rows. So our dataset is free of any missing values. So first I'll do extrain. So now I have split up my dataset into training and testing set. Now my first step is to scale all the numerical columns. Just assume that this is the first step in our task. Okay, so how will you do it? First, I need to keep a track of all the numerical columns in this dataset. For that, I can first just see which are my columns with numerical. So I have this one age, I have final weight, I have education number, and I have these three columns here which are numerical. So I'll just make a note of them. So I'll say give me column for each column in extrain dot columns if extrain of column dot is not equal to object. So this will give me all the columns which are numerical ones. Okay, so I'll just save them in a variable called numcols. Now similarly, we can make a note of all the categorical columns in the same way. So I can say where d types equal to object. So now I have all the categorical columns here. So I can save them in cat calls column. Now I have two lists of my columns, categorical and numerical. Now my first step was to scale all the numerical columns, right? My extrain of num calls. they're on different scales, so we need to scale them. And I have separately made a bunch of videos on scaling, feature scaling techniques. So just have a look at them if you are unfamiliar with these techniques. So now I'll first scale them using robust scaler. You can scale them in any with any scaler, but I'll be using robust scaler here. So first I'll do robust scaler. Now just keep in mind that we are doing this uh, to demonstrate how easy column transformer will make a task later. So this is the longer route that we are taking. So I'll quickly say r equal to robust scaler. I've created the object and I'll fit. So what I'll fit xtrain of num calls. I'll fit this subset of data frame. Okay, so once I fitted now I'll transform my xtrain of num calls. So if I do r dot transform, so now this is my transformed train set. Okay, uh, so I'll just save them in a variable called xtrain num scaled. Very good. Now similarly I'll scale down the test set of xtrain, or basically of xtest. So what I'll do is I'll simply do r dot transform and x underscore test of num calls. So this is my transform test set now. You see, I'm just using r dot transform here, whereas I fit my robust scaler on the training set, and then I scaled my training set using that object r, and also I'm transforming my test set using that same object r. So I'm nowhere seeing the test set for fitting purposes, and hence there is no scope for data leakage basically. Okay, so now I'll save this in a similar named object. I'll say x test of num scaled. So now I have scaled both my training and testing numerical values. Now my second step is to one hot encode the categorical columns. So how we will do that? It's very easy. I have also made a tutorial on that if you are not so familiar with the concept of one hot encoding. So I'll create an object called one hot encoder. I'll set sparse is equal to false and handle unknown is equal to ignore. Okay, I've created this object now. Now I'll do simple o dot fit. So what will I fit this object on? So if I check what is my xtrain of cat calls, so this is showing me the subset of data frame for all the categorical columns, and I need one column per each feature, right, per unique feature. So I'll simply fit my one hot encoder object on xtrain of cat calls. So once I fitted that, it has learned all the categories, all the column names, and now I'll transform the same xtrain of cat calls. So now you see I have all the one hot encoded columns. So I if I just want to cross verify what it is it doing, now you see I have around 98 different columns for one for each category of in this X train of cat calls data set. Okay, so I have 98 new columns now. So I'll just remove this and I'll save this in xtrain of cat and encoded. So this is the name that I've been giving to this variable now. Okay, so similarly I'll be transforming the test set as well. So it is a similar procedure. So I'll do x test of cat encoded is equal to o dot transform. Now I'm transforming my test set using this O object which was fitted on the xtrain of cat calls, right? So here also I'm nowhere seeing the test set for fitting purposes. I'm nowhere learning data from the test set. So that is also preventing data leakage. Now I'm emphasizing on this fact of data leakage because this is very important concept. So you shouldn't in any kind of way learn your data from the test set. It should only be learned from the training set and you should apply it on the test set as it is. So now I have my xtest categorical encoded column as well, array as well. Now you see I have got four different objects here, right? So xtrain num scaled, xtest num scaled, then xtrain cat encoded, xtest cat encoded. Now but my simple xtrain if I look what my xtrain looked like, it was having both the categorical and numerical columns, right? So I need my entire xtrain to be in one place. So how will I do that? I'll say np.concatenate, and now I'll pass in as a tuple the arrays which I want to be concatenated. So I'll say num scaled of xtrain concatenate this with xtrain of categorical encoded, because these are the xtrain columns, right? Now I need to also pass in access is equal to 1 because I want to be do the concatenation along the columns, right? So this is my output data frame now of my xtrain. So if I do pd.data frame, now see I have 104 columns total, because 98 columns were for, if I check, I removed that. You see, remember I had 98 columns for my xtrain cat encoded, and I have 6 columns in total for my, I have 6 numerical columns. So 98 plus 6 is 104, and I have 104 columns here. So these are my 104 columns. So this is my xtrain, right? So this is my new xtrain, and similarly I can do it for my new xtest also. So I can do it for xtest num scaled and xtest cat encoded. So this is my test set now, okay, which was uh, transformed entirely based upon the learnings from the training set. So you see how much effort we had to put in just to apply one hot encoder and robust scaler. We had to do so many transformations on training set and then testing set. Similarly, for one hot encoder, we had to do all these things, and then we had to also concatenate the training set, testing set. Now we will see why column transformer is so good and what different does it do. So I'll say column transformer enters. So now column transformer enters the arena. Now what we'll do is I'll first create a column transformer object. So I'll say ct is equal to column transformer. Okay, so now column transformer expects a list of tuples. Okay, so just keep this in mind. It is expecting a list of tuples. So this is a list, and in this list I'm going to pass in various tuples. Okay, so now we'll see what each tuple takes. So each tuple will take in 3 elements. So the first element will be the name of this step. So I can call this, for example, step 1. This name is arbitrary, we can give it any name. Now the second step is the transformation that we apply, that we want to apply. Now for example, I want first the robust scalar to be applied. So I'll say robust scalar. Okay, just I'm calling this object, this class. Now this was the second element of this tuple, right? So now the third element which it needs is the name of the columns that I want to apply this robust scalar to. Okay, just as simple as that. So what are the columns that I want to apply this robust scalar to? I want to apply it to the numcols columns. So I can simply say numcols here, and this is done. Now when I fit and transform this column transformer object, it will automatically transform all my numcols and by robust scalar. Okay, so this was step 1. Now step 2. What is my step 2? I want to apply one hot encoder. Ignore. Okay, so now this was my second element of this tuple. Now what is my third element? My third element is the columns that I want to apply this one hot encoder on. Now what are the columns that I want to apply my one hot encoder on? Those are my cat calls, right? So if I just say cat calls here, now I missed this thing in the past, that if I check what is my df.head. Okay, so this was my data frame, initial data frame. I didn't pay any kind of attention to this education num column. So this was basically derived of this education column. In fact, if I check for bachelor's, it was named number 13. High school, it was number 9. For bachelor's, again, it was 13. So basically, this column was ordinarily encoded when it was given to us, right? So if I just check df of education and education num, if I check these two columns, I'll see that master's is number 14, bachelor's is number 13th, and then there must be some 15 here. See, doctorate is the highest, number 16th, and I have a 15 somewhere here. I have a 15 here, which is prof school. So you see, they have been ranked according to their importance. So they've already been ordinarily encoded for us. So both of these columns are basically implying the same thing to us, right? So we can use either of those columns for our purpose. So what I'll do is I'll drop this education column, because if I keep this education column, I'll have to make 16 different one hot encoded columns, which will simply expand our feature space. But we can do for the moment with education num column as well, right? Because it is giving away the same information. So what I'll do is, instead of doing this entire cat calls, because if I check what is my cat calls, it also has the education column. So I need to remove this education column. So what I'll do is I can pass in this entire list. So now I will remove this education column from here. So I want to apply my one hot encoder on these columns only. Okay. Now, do I have any step 3? That is the question. So since I have done all my columns here, num calls also, and my this columns categorical columns also, I do not need this step 3. Instead, there is a parameter called remainder, which is by default set to drop. So what it means is that if I have any of the columns in my data set which are not in num calls, or which are not in these uh, other steps, then those columns will be silently dropped from the output. Okay. So this is what we want, right? We want to drop the education column altogether without any calculations done of it. So I'll set this to remainder is equal to drop for now. So I'll just execute this. Now I've created this column transformer object, right? So I'll first, what I'll do is I'll fit my column transformer on my X train. So now I have successfully created my column transformer object, and this is what it has learned. So what are the transformers? For step 1, it is robust scalar, and these are the columns from age until hours per week. And for step 2, it is one hot encoder, and the columns are work class until native country. So now I will transform the train set. So see how easy it will become. So if I do ct.transform, and if I do x train, now, you see, in just one transform, I have completely transformed my entire data set now. You see, what happens basically is when I transformed xtrain, it saw the columns, it mapped the columns basically, it saw that age column, it wasn't robust scalar, so it robust scaled that age column. For work class, it had to apply one hot encoder, so it did so one hot encoder, and so on. Okay, so column transformer will do all that work for us behind the scenes. So now that I have transformed the train set, now in just one line of code, I will also transform the test set. So what I'll do is I'll simply say express, nothing else. So now you see I'm getting my transformed X test back, which looks very much same like, if you check, the first value was 0.3682 minus zero point 0.8, and if I check here 0.3684, it is very similar, and zero point 0.8 minus 0.8. So it is doing the same thing behind the scenes, but so easily for us now, right? Because we made this column transformer object, and this will do all the work for us. Now there's another thing about column transformer, and that is, now if I want to access the, for example, if I want my entire transform data set back. Okay, so now I have this numpy array. So if I, for example, for this training set, if this I have this array, but I want a data frame. So you'll see what happens if I ask for a data frame. Scikit-learn by default loses all the column names for us. Okay, so it will not have any of the column names. By the way, I'm seeing 87 here instead of 103 because I dropped that education column before, right? If you remember. So the number of columns have reduced. So now how we can take back all the column names? So now that is very easy. What we can do is we can navigate through this column transformer. Now just pay attention here. What we can do is this CT object that we created, I can simply say CT dot, I can go for transformers underscore this attribute. So now this will tell me for the first step what it did was robust scaler for all these columns, step 2 one hot encoder for all these columns, and remainder this third step by default it added to this transformers list this tuple which was remainder drop and 3. So 3 means this is the index number of the column which was dropped. So if I check my original data frame, so if I check here 0, 1, 2 and 3, you see we dropped this education column and hence this is the index number of the column that was dropped. So 3 was dropped, hence this is written here. Okay, so this is what it is doing behind the scenes. Now if I want to access, for example, if I want to see what was the median value for age in this robust scalar, so what I can do is I can inquire, I can say ct.transformers. Now I can access for example, I know that this is the zeroth element of this list, right? This is the first step, so this is zeroth element. So I can ask for the zeroth element. So now I have filtered it down to only this one element. Now I know that step 1 is the first element, step 2 is a robust scalar. So now I know that step 1 is the zeroth element, robust scalar is the second element, and this column names are the third element of this tuple. So now I can go to the first element of this tuple, which is basically robust scalar. So I now have this robust scalar object, and now I can ask for statistics underscore. Okay, so robust scalar doesn't have statistics. So let us see what robust scalar has to check for the attributes. If I check the attributes, tells me I need to pass in attribute of center and scale. Okay, so statistics was for simple imputer, and for robust scalar it is center and scale. So center will give me all the medians. So if I do center underscore, it will give me all the medians for all the 6 numerical columns that it calculated. And if I do scale underscore, it will give me all the interquartile ranges that it calculated. That is 75th quantile minus 25th quantile it calculated for all the 6 columns. Okay, so this is how we can access any element that we want. So now similarly, if I want to see all the one hot encoded columns, right, I have only 6 here, but I know that work class was divided into 6 or 7 columns. So if I want to see what were the column names, I know that this was a step 2, so this was the second element of this list, right? So I can go for ct dot transformers underscore. Now I can ask for the first element, so this will give me the one hot encoder step. Now I want to access this object, right, one hot encoder object. So I'll again ask for the first element, so this will give me the one hot encoder object. And now I can ask for get feature names and pass this method. Now it will give me all the column names, right? So these were the 80 odd column names that scikit-learn derived for us. So this x0 means this was a 0th categorical column, and this x6 means this was a 7th categorical column. So now you see we have the column names back as we had desired. So this is how we can access the attributes of any object that we created in this column transformer. So this is, we have to access it one step at a time, right? So we just have to go to this transformers underscore to get all the transformers that that column transformer used, and then we can navigate through those transformers to get our desired result. Okay, so now just one small thing, just as we specified here, remainder is equal to drop, right? So if I want to create another object of column transformer just for demonstration purpose. If I name this CT1, okay. So now in this step 1, I did all the numerical columns. Now for example, just for some reason, if I do not want all my num calls here, so if I check my num calls, it gives me age, okay. So now if I want, for example, only until these columns, now this will be a common thing, so don't think why would we ever do so. So these are the column names that we are interested in robust scaling. Okay, we are not interested in robust scaling this hours per week column. So what, and we also want to just simply pass this column unfiltered. Okay, we do not want to apply any kind of filtering to this hours per week column. We do not want to drop this column, and we do not want to apply any robust scaler or standard scaler to this hours per week column. So how we can do that is, I can either say remainder is equal to pass through. So if I do that, just think what would happen. If I do this, now what this pass through will do is, it will check all the columns that are present here and are present here. And when I fit it to my X train, if it finds that there are certain columns which are not present here and here, then it will simply pass those columns unfiltered. Okay, so those columns will be left as it is. So if I check now, just to show what I mean by that, if I do a ct1 dot fit transform x underscore train, and if I do a pt dot data frame of it, now you see these two columns for the hours per week column and my education column, which is now passed through, right, which was dropped before but which is passed through now. So what has happened is that pass through has just sent this education column and hours per week column as unfiltered to this output data frame, right? So this is what pass through is doing. Now just think, if I want to drop the education column and I want to uh, keep the hours per week column unfiltered in this output, okay, if this is my criteria, so what I can do is, I can pass in a third step. I can call it any name. I can call it step 3. And instead of passing in an object, a scikit-learn object, what I can do is, I can say pass through here. Okay, I can pass the string as an object here. This is a special keyword that is allowed by column transformer. And now here I can list the name of columns that I want to simply pass through unfiltered. So I know that hours per week is that column which I want to not, which I want scikit-learn to not even have a look at, just pass it unfiltered. And I want to drop this education column nonetheless. So I can set this to remainder is equal to drop. So now if I check, now you see this finally this as per week has been transferred unfiltered, and my education column has been dropped because I said remainder is equal to drop here. Okay, now if I want to be a little bit more verbose, I can also say a step 4, and I can say drop as another object, and I can say drop which columns I want to drop. I want to drop the education column. So once I do that, now you see it is the same result, because this was basically what it was doing before also. It was dropping all the remainder columns, but here I was a little bit more verbose that which columns I want to drop. So I want to drop the education column, so I set it to drop. Okay, so this is how we can use column transformer to achieve any kind of pre-processing that we want our model to do. Okay, so this was all about column transformer. I hope I was clear enough to make you understand how to use a column transformer and why is it useful. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next lecture.